The Dex Legacy, an audio drama by Emily Inkpen.
Thank you for joining us for this short preview of the Dex Legacy. My name's Gregory and I'm the producer of the Dex Legacy. The Dex Legacy is a full-cast political sci-fi audio drama series based on characters from the novel trilogy of the same name by Emily Inkpen. Set around 10 years before the novels take place, the dramas follow events on seed planet SP714, where a corporation has grown so large that it has established itself as its own nation. As well as getting immersed in the political machinations of Dex Enterprises and those who run it, we follow the lives of the three adopted children of founder Nathaniel Dex. Varian, Isra and Ren Dex are at the spearhead of the Dex military operation, where morally dubious and ethically shady practices have become commonplace. But can they fight back against this tyranny and free themselves from the chains of the family business? We'll be releasing episodes fortnightly, starting in January and running through to June. We have a combination of longer episodes telling an evolving story and shorter one-off stories within the wider chronology of the serial. Emily, have I missed anything important?
I think that's a pretty good summary. What we see or hear in this audio drama is a real push and pull of conflicting interests among these characters. So there's Nathaniel Dex and his business partners Tristan, Devik and Osa on one side, and the adopted kids Varian, Isra and Ren on the other. They each have their own motives and ambitions, and we get to see those play out, plus consequences and a lot about the question of accountability. Actually, the series kicks off with a specific event, and the question of who should be held accountable for that event is something that haunts Dex Industries and the world throughout the audio drama, and also the trilogy set 11 years later. The setting for the Dex Legacy is huge. Dex Industries is a nation, so Varian, Isra and Ren are being deployed throughout the world, and the politics that decides where they go is global. But this epic scale it's a backdrop, because what's more important are the relatively intimate conversations that drive events. So I think at its core, it's a very intimate story.
I keep seeing so many parallels in your story with our world, not least the increasing power and influence of large corporations, and even the ability of certain corporation owners to venture into space. Was it your plan to draw comparisons like this in your work?
Well, I've been influenced by a lot of things, but when it comes to real-world politics, I'm of the generation that was gaining political awareness at around the time of 9/11 and the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. And in the years since, we've experienced, I think it's fair to say we've experienced a sharp downturn when it comes to public trust in the government. And I think we've all become more aware of how much power private interests have over government decisions. So I suppose I decided to take the mask off. Dex Island is like an unmasked version of this. The president of the corporation has moved his company to a private island, declared it a nation, and himself president. So it's brazen, but I don't think it's more brazen than what we see in politics today. And will Mark Zuckerberg buy the moon, move there and call it Planet Meta? Who knows? I don't think anything would surprise me anymore.
A word about our brilliant cast. How did it feel to hear your words performed by our acting team?
I have to start by saying the cast is absolutely fantastic. Every one of them is incredibly talented, and we're so lucky to have them on board. So a huge shout out to Kamara Elliott, Kelsey Griffin, Charlie Richards, Warren Graham, Annika Cordes, Louis Watson and Stevie Skinner. You're amazing. They've taken me on a real journey. As a novelist, I hadn't collaborated on much before, so hearing someone else speak as one of my characters was odd at first, but their performances are so brilliant. I now write with their voices in my head, and I provide them with the words and they bring them to life. It's a really cool process.
How did you find the transition from writing novels and short fiction to writing drama?
Is it odd if I say it was a fun and natural step? Like, my books centre around these characters and their relationships, and the essence of that comes across so naturally in dialogue. I also did a lot of theatre when I was growing up, so I was somewhat familiar with how actors might bounce lines off one another. The episodic format has taken a bit of getting used to, but I think I'm getting there.
Can you tell us a bit about the fiction, movies and audio dramas that have influenced your work?
Sure, okay. So when I was 6, my dad read me Lord of the Rings, and later I got into Dune and Game of Thrones, which are all epic stories about complicated family units and individuals who steer the course of history. There's the boldly go ethos of Star Trek that was such a fundamental message during my childhood. And I imagined people heading into the stars to find new places to live. There's the big Shinra Corporation in Final Fantasy VII and their soldier elite fighting force, which is a very interesting concept to me in my teen years. As for audio drama, I was raised on The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which really helped me to understand how audio dialogue could be structured. But nowadays I'm loving Girl in Space and I can't wait for season 2. And We Fix Space Junk is awesome.
What can our listeners expect from the Dex Legacy?
It's kind of like Game of Thrones in space, with a bit of Atreides style, plus the complicated and morally dubious side of experimenting with the creation of super soldiers of Final Fantasy VII. So really a bucket load of character-driven sci-fi drama with fantastic acting and very high quality production. And I've got to put a word out for our brilliant music score, which is by Dr. Alan Stroud. And as well as being a composer, Alan's the chair of the British Science Fiction Association, and we're really lucky to have him on board. He's so amazingly talented, and I honestly can't even. You can find his soundtrack on the website at www.thedexlegacy.com.
Yeah, Alan Stroud's soundtrack really is amazing, and as well as the main theme, which you can hear playing in the background now, we have a number of incidental pieces of music which Alan's been kind enough to share with us, and you'll be hearing those in the background through the rest of the Dex Legacy series.
So yeah, apart from www.thedexlegacy.com, how can listeners find and listen to the Dex Legacy?
We're on all major podcast platforms, and if you're a podcast fan, you'll know that includes Apple Podcasts, which is the big one, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and all the others. And you can find us by just searching for the Dex Legacy within your podcast app.
We also have a website, which is thedexlegacy.com, all one word. And here you can find out all about our cast and crew, learn a bit of background to the series, read an exclusive short story, which is a prequel to the audio drama series. There's also maps, the soundtrack by Dr. Alan Stroud, all sorts of fun things. You can also follow us on social media, where we post as at the Dex Legacy, and on Instagram, at the Dex Legacy. So everything is the Dex Legacy, so it's reasonably easy to remember.
Because making audio drama is expensive, we also have a Ko-fi page where you can support the podcast and access exclusive content, merchandise and events, and we'll be adding more and more to that as the series unfolds. And you can find that ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com / the Dex Legacy audio drama, and that's all one word. So I'll say that again, ko-fi.com, the Dex Legacy audio drama.
And we always appreciate ratings and reviews, especially in Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, because of Apple's algorithms. The more ratings and reviews we receive, the more often the show will be recommended to fans of similar shows. So this really helps us to build our audience.
Word of mouth is also an important tool in promoting a podcast. So if you have friends, colleagues or family members who enjoy science fiction, please tell them about the Dex Legacy and ask them to listen.
Thanks for listening to this preview, and we hope you enjoy the Dex Legacy.
We're going to leave you now with our series trailer for the Dex Legacy. Thanks so much for listening to this preview, and we hope you enjoy the show.
The Dex Legacy, an audio drama by Emily Inkpen.
Almost 1,500 years ago, our ancestors landed on this planet with technology we have never managed to replicate.
We were sent here in giant seed ships, with more data than any one person could ever get through in a lifetime. 10,000 people and some animals were left with all this knowledge, except the plans for interstellar travel. So, they didn't want us going back. Why?
I expect this planet had more tricks up its sleeve than they anticipated. We've been dragging ourselves forward until now, Tristan. This invention of Osa's, it surpasses everything they knew.
I was told to create the most scientifically advanced weapon the world has ever seen. I did not sell it, and I did not detonate it. When Varian, Isra, and Ren go into battle and kill a multitude, do you feel responsible?
That's different.
And how is that?
It is not Devitt's responsibility.
So the spawn was not mine?
Didn't you hear what I just said? The rebels are coming, Ren. Get ready.
Lost Isra. She's been taken captive. I don't have much time. The electrical currents disabled her chip. We cannot track her.
You mean to ask me if she's already dead?
I don't know.
We can end their lives at a push of a button, no matter where in the world they are, and they know it. A person should not have to live with that threat.
Seconds count here, Varian.
I know, but losing you as well would make this a very bad day.
Have you thought about what they might be doing to her?
I'm trying not to. Don't be stupid here and wait.
We may have a serious problem.
You think that if Isra escapes the rebels and chooses to run from us, we won't be able to find her?
That is exactly what I'm thinking.
Find her, Ren.
I will.
So you really think countries will choose to hire Dex military in times of need rather than maintain their own military power constantly? And you believe you can keep Dex Island neutral?
Yes.
How?
Because they will fear us. If all goes well, after today, they will all fear us.
The Dex Legacy, an audio drama by Emily Inkpen.